today we want to look at certain foods you must avoid when you are pregnant. And we know that pregnancy is the absolute most important time to get your diet extremely very, healthy. And by so doing, you are going to actually avoid certain things that you wouldn't want it to affect you and as well as the unborn child. So we're going to be going through some foods that you must avoid them when you are pregnant. And so the first one that we like to talk about is high mercury fish. There are some fishes that have a very high amount of mercury in them, and to be consuming high mercury fishes when you are pregnant is very dangerous. So we have to be very careful about these kind of fishes, which I'm going to call out their name. Of course, we have the swordfish, the marlin. We also have the shark with a very high amount of mercury that must also be avoided. We have the king mackerel, we have the tilefish, we have the orange roughy, and also certain types of tuna like the albacore, the yellowfin, the bigeye. Because all of these fishes have a high content of mercury, and as we spoke earlier, a lot of the mercury in your body when you are pregnant can affect this growing baby and also create certain nutrition deficiencies, and it also creates problems with development of the unborn child. So now the question is, what kind of fish is okay when you are pregnant? Of course, we have to consider some fishes like the haddock, the trout, the cod, the salmon, the tilapia, and the fish eggs. All these fishes are very okay when you are pregnant, so you can be consuming much of these fishes than the other ones that I talked about. Now we are looking at the second one, that is raw fish. A good source of raw fish that has not been contaminated by the salmonella is actually a good thing for somebody that is pregnant. But when it becomes contaminated with salmonella, for instance, getting it from a local sushi restaurant, it can easily be contaminated by the organism called salmonella, and that wouldn't help you even as you are carrying the unborn child. So you have to be very careful when you are pregnant and you like to take raw fishes. You have to be very careful. You have to make sure that it is actually coming from a very good source, and of course that has not been contaminated in any way or in any form, and that's really a good thing, because if you consume any kind of raw fish that is contaminated with salmonella, it's not safe for your pregnancy, and so we need to be very careful on that note. All right, so the next one that we are going to be looking at is raw sprout. When I talk of raw sprout, I'm not talking about the kind of raw sprout that you personally have made at home under hygienic conditions, or maybe a raw sprout that you have purchased from a healthy store. Talking about a raw sprout that you have been served at, let's say, a local salad buffet or any local grocery store. These raw sprouts, you don't actually know what actually went through the preparation. So if you are pregnant and you find yourself in these places that I've called local grocery store, any kind of salad buffet, public one, you need to be very careful, because if it's affected, it has a way of affecting the unborn child, and that is something that we wouldn't want to tamper with. So you need to know that if you want to eat raw sprout, make sure that you take the pain to go through the process to prepare it under a very hygienic condition, and that's really going to help. Now the fourth one that we like to look at is hot dogs, lunch meat or deli meat, and of course I'm talking about the ones from a local grocery store. You need to be very careful when you are pregnant and you consume these things I've called forth from these places. And so if you're pregnant and you're going to be taking hot dogs, lunch meat and deli meat, make sure that they are organic. That is, it's from grass-fed animals and it doesn't have any added sugar. So the animals are usually grass-fed, so that they have higher amounts of omega-6 fatty acids. So just to go quality, if you are going to do hot dogs, lunch meat and deli meats, you need to actually go for those ones that have no sugar, and also they have been extracted from these animals that I've talked about. The next one we are looking at is refined carbohydrates and sugar. This is a very important amongst all the things I'm talking about, because when a woman is pregnant, there are a lot of cravings that he gets for, mostly some sweets, and these kinds of cravings, even as you are taking sweets, can actually expose you to insulin resistance that may even be pre-diabetes. Even as gestational diabetes is something that normally happens when a woman is pregnant. So some of these cravings for sweets and the things that I talked about can actually be a factor, and we need to be very careful on that. Not to mention depleting a lot of vitamins and minerals. And so if you have a growing baby inside you, you want to keep your carbs low, simply because that body is getting everything that you are consuming. And of course, you could potentially set that baby up for a pre-diabetic state as they grow older. The last one that we are looking at is rice and grains. You have to cut down high consumption of rice and grains when you are pregnant, because of the phytic acid in it that can deplete zinc and other important minerals, even as you need them when you are pregnant or in the process of you carrying a child. So this is very important, and then we need to take note of that. Thank you so very much for making time to watch me on this channel. I appreciate you to have it to watch me. If you like this content, kindly share this video. You can subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.